Welcome to our Cortina release breakout session on PolicyCenter. We have a big group today who are excited to tell you about a number of new developments, so let's jump right in. First up is Jack Reichner from our SurePath team. What's new, Jack?
Thanks, Scott. The SurePath content team has been hard at work over the last 6 months to deliver new incubation content across all of InsuranceSuite, particularly PolicyCenter, to ensure fast, predictable delivery for our customers' Guidewire cloud journey. Our SurePath content program has published over 50 features since Aspen launch to the Guidewire marketplace, available in the majority of cases for both cloud and self-managed customers. For Cortina launch, a couple of the PolicyCenter features we're most excited about are the bulk re-rate and bulk producer change capabilities we've added to the PolicyCenter administration UI. Both of these features provide a scalable capability to process endorsements against policies in bulk, either to correct problems in activated ratebooks or to manage book of business transfers across producer organizations. Both of these features are implemented on a standardized bulk change framework, which provides interfaces and common implementation logic that can be used for other customer-specific bulk change requirements as well. By using these features and making minor extensions for unique requirements, our customers will be able to implement bulk change capabilities that scale even to the largest policy volumes.
That's fantastic. SurePath gives our customers a great way to build upon the power of PolicyCenter quickly. Say, are there any SurePath elements in the UBI solution that we heard so much about in the opening keynote?
Absolutely. The UBI solution that we heard about in the opening keynote is powered by our usage-based insurance SurePath content, which is currently available on the Guidewire marketplace as well. The currently published SurePath content provides the capability to rapidly define a usage-based line for personal auto. We're working to further improve that content to include rapidly implementable digital flows, document production and telematics integrations, and ClaimCenter first notice of loss flows that integrate trip data for an improved claims handling experience. Over the coming months, we'll also be expanding that offering to support commercial auto, as well as other usage and event-based products. One capability I'd like to demonstrate in the current SurePath content offering is the option to enable or disable usage-based pricing for a personal auto policy via a simple policy change transaction. So rather than requiring UBI to be implemented as its own distinct product, we've enhanced our out-of-the-box personal auto product to carry an indicator on whether usage-based pricing has been enabled. When I enable that option for this policy, and then proceed to quote, we can see pricing information update immediately to reflect a significantly reduced cost. This is because the standard pricing model in the corresponding ratebook provides for a small upfront base premium, with additional trip premiums collected on a weekly or on a monthly basis via audit transactions. So in this way, both new and existing customers can adopt our SurePath content for existing products, thus minimizing the barriers to adoption for their insureds.
Thank you, Jack. Well, there you have it. If you watched our keynote this morning, now you know where the technology behind future state insurance story came from. Let's move on to what is always a popular topic, Advanced Product Designer. Care to give us an update about it, Julie?
Of course, Scott. Over the past couple of years, we have been building a strong foundation for APD, and we have focused primarily on enabling new product launch. We understand that after each product launch, the product needs to be maintained and updated. In Banff, we took the important step to ensure that we can support new product launches as well as updates to existing products. This is a key enhancement so that APD is a tool for product management. You may remember that in Banff, we released additions in APD, which allows you to make incremental changes to insurance products over time. By creating additions using PM properties, you can make adjustments to respond quickly to market demands and information you have learned by doing data analytics and simply making changes beyond the initial product launch. With small, non-structural changes, Additions offers the benefit of no system downtime for releases. In Cortina, we are launching a new feature for dependent coverages. This feature enables you to make implicit, complex relationships between coverages in the product model. There is no need to write code to handle these validations and coverages that exist in the same family. The perfect example of dependent coverages is in personal auto, personal injury protection, or PIP. Many PIP states have this concept where the major PIP coverage has many levels of sub-coverage or child coverage, such as funeral expense or additional benefits. Adding a relationship and implicit validation such as not allowing dependent coverage to exist on its own just makes sense.
Thank you, Julie. Let's move right from product model design to digital experience. Praveen, can you tell us what's new there?
Happy to do that, Scott. I want to talk about 3 key features that we're very proud of in Cortina. They are digital upgrades, code generation, and a new testing framework. So let's start with digital upgrades. Now, upgrades has actually been one of the hardest problems we've had in digital for a long time. Our customers have invested a lot of time and effort to take our out-of-the-box user experiences and make it their own. They add their logos, they add their colors, they tweak our flow, they add additional screens, additional integrations, etc., etc. Now, in some regions, customers have actually built completely new LOBs as part of the project because that's something that we didn't have out of the box. So the challenge that we have within Guidewire is, how do we take these user experiences that customers have built over multiple releases and efficiently and quickly upgrade them to the latest version of digital? I'm happy to report for Cortina, we've addressed that challenge head on. You'll see now we've made a clear distinction between code that we expect customers will modify versus code that only Guidewire can modify. So the code that customers can modify, we classify that as content. The code that Guidewire will modify, we classify that as platform. So for the very first time in digital, there's this clean separation between content versus platform. We put in a significant amount of time to make that distinction, and we think this will have a huge impact on digital upgrades and the speed of the upgrades. So that's digital upgrades. Let me tell you about some of the improvements we've made to code generation. In Banff, you could auto-generate the quote and buy flow, but it was limited to just customer engage. With Cortina, what we've done is we've removed that limitation. You can now auto-generate quote and buy flows for customer engage and producer engage. Not only that, we've actually eliminated a lot of manual steps. If you look at our Banff code generation instructions, you'll see that there are about 10 different steps a developer had to go through. We've actually reduced that down to just a couple of steps. So as you can see, we are continuously working on lowering your TCO and increasing the speed to market. Last but not the least, we are releasing GTUI for digital. GTUI is Guidewire's end-to-end testing framework. A standard testing framework is something that customers have asked us for a long time. The really cool thing about digital UI is you can use digital UI to test not only insurance suite, but also digital. So we are providing customers a single testing framework that they can use to test all of their UI. Our vision is customers will use GTUI not only for the initial implementation, but they will continue using the suite of tests every time they take a digital update. So this is an automated way for customers to validate that taking a new digital update hasn't broken any of the existing functionality. So this is yet another example of how we've enabled customers to move a lot faster on the cloud. So Scott, those are the three things I wanted to highlight for Cortina.
Excellent, Pravin. I think our customers will be excited that we're helping them improve their insurance experience for their customers. Believe it or not, we have one more expert to talk with today. All this new functionality is great, but if you want to make the most of it, you'll need analytics. Ryan, please take it away.
Thank you, Scott. At our Banff session, we focused on how our embedded analytics framework enables you to insert analytics insights directly into your PolicyCenter business rules and UI without any coding or system restart. But that is just the visible end result of what we call closed-loop analytics, the ability to address a business use case with analytics by quickly and accurately sourcing data, building models, changing workflow, evaluating business impact, and making continuous improvements. Up till now, we put all these pieces together for insurers, but we, like probably most of you, always thought of it in traditional terms as an analytics project. Now in Cortina, we have fully productized each component of the loop, starting with submission prioritization for business owners' policies. That means that if you have bought policies in InsuranceSuite Cloud, you can import and update a predefined historical data set that contains all the data needed to predict a policy submission's expected profitability and its likelihood of converting into a bound policy. Using our Science Data Listening Engine, we will then append relevant external data from the business's digital footprint, including customer reviews, prior violations, operating info, and firmographics. With the data in place, we will automatically build you these two models for profitability and conversion with best practices codified by our licensed actuaries based on their experience with all our past customer projects. You may then evaluate the modeling outcomes for yourselves and, once satisfied, decide how you want the results to translate into your workflow, perhaps by increasing the number of promising submissions that are straight-through processed without manual review. Or you can step back and do your own data science, starting from the modeling-ready data sets. Either way, as I mentioned at the start, once you are ready to implement a modeling solution in PolicyCenter, we already have the Analytics Manager to embed the desired workflow and UI changes in PolicyCenter without an IT dependency. And now, you can also follow the downstream impact of these changes in our Explore Business Intelligence product, where analytics recommendations are included in your dashboards to illuminate the KPIs you ultimately care about. Finally, we have automated the statistical monitoring, so that after you are relying upon models in production, your actuaries or data scientists will be proactively notified if your data is drifting and your models need to be refreshed. Now that all these components of closed-loop analytics are productized, you can confidently increase straight-through processing and point your underwriters where their time and expertise are most needed, with perhaps a month's worth of building business consensus about how to use new models, instead of a possible year's worth of data wrangling and IT projects to build and implement them.
Thank you, Ryan. There's a lot here for our PolicyCenter customers, and fortunately this session will be available on demand just in case you missed anything about our Cortina release. I do have one final question, and we'll do it as a speed round. I'd like each of you to give our audience a brief peek into what you expect when we meet again 6 months to discuss for Dobson, our next release. Let's start with Jack. What might we see going forward?
For the Dobson release, in addition to the work we have scheduled for UBI, we plan to add a workers' compensation mandatory rate change capability onto the bulk change framework for PolicyCenter, as well as negotiated premiums and commissions functionality that will allow for our customers to tie their commissions models more closely to their product offerings. Of course, PolicyCenter won't be our sole focus. We'll also be continuing to release new capabilities for ClaimCenter as well as for BillingCenter. Julie, how about you?
In Dobson, we will continue to build on the traction created with additions by enabling product personalization in APD. Product personalization will help you quickly adapt to changing markets and offer a more unique and tailored insurance buying process for your customers. Product personalization uses variations in concert with additions. Each variation can be one dimension or multidimensional. Think of dimensions as the thing you vary your insurance product by, like jurisdiction, channel, brand, or type of customer. Stay tuned. Praveen, your turn.
There are a lot of features that we're working for in Dobson, but the big one is micro apps. Now you're probably asking, what is a micro app? Let me explain. A micro app is a self-contained P&C transaction that's embeddable. So quote and buy is an example of a micro app. Policy change, renewal, claim intake, submission intake, these are some other examples of a micro app. Now we are building these micro apps so that you can embed it into customer engage, you can embed it into producer engage, you can even embed it in your own enterprise portal. We're going to give you the flexibility of branding it and styling it so that when you embed the micro app, you have a nice seamless experience. We're also making sure that these micro apps peacefully coexist with transactions you might have already built. For example, you might have already built home and motor in producer engage. You could build pet insurance as a micro app and then embed it into producer engage. By the way, all these micro apps are going to use REST APIs on the back end. We are very excited to be working on micro apps for Dobson. Over to you, Ryan. What's coming up for Dobson?
For Cortina, we ensured that all the platform components of closed-loop analytics were built and robustly tested with our first use case, submission prioritization for business owners in North America. Now that that foundation is in place, the word for Dobson is acceleration. More use cases, more lines of business, more regions, meaning more value impacting more of your business lifecycle.
Thank you, everyone. It's an exciting time for PolicyCenter. I have just one thing to add before we close, which is that the majority of these updates are available only in the cloud. We believe that Guidewire Cloud is the right choice right now because in addition to bringing you all this new functionality, it helps ensure that your next upgrade is your last upgrade, and that you can launch new products faster, and you can leverage the closed-loop analytics we just talked about today to drive insights. It just keeps getting better. Please reach out if you have questions. And if you're here live, don't forget to stop by the PolicyCenter Customer Advisory Group later in the event to learn more and talk with the team. Enjoy the rest of Connections.